Hi guys, welcome to Revit for Interiors. So on today's channel, we'll be looking at how to model a vanity. So we are taking a bit of a more modern, high luxury approach to it, and I know these sort of Revit families are very difficult to find. So let's look at modeling something that we find on Pinterest. This is usually the design process anyway. So we're gonna look for an image on there, any image that you like. I've picked this one. Okay, so it's got some sort of like floating vanity at the top, however it sits flush with the floor. So we're gonna take those components and we're gonna try our very best to model it in Revit. So the first thing that I like to do is definitely open a casework family. This will come in handy a bit later, just in terms of, you know, marking all your joinery items if you can have a joinery plan, but this is just for aesthetics for now. So the first thing I want to do is, you know, just by yourself, kind of imagine the size that you want this vanity to be. Do you want it to be 600 deep? Some could be a bit smaller if it's a tighter space. I generally like to make them about 1,200 millimeters wide. Could potentially fit two people, or just a bit of space for one, you know? So that's what we're gonna do. And so I really like putting on reference planes. Those are the little green dashed lines. Those really just help, you know, guide your drawing process. Even though it is a 3D sort of software, it is very intuitive. So if you use it to the best of its ability and your ability, and making your job a lot easier by doing all the workings out for you, that really is going to make the process a lot smoother in the long run. And honestly, just making your drawings a lot more accurate, because usually how the process works is that you will probably use this vanity for drawings further down the line, or if this is actually going to go to site, you can use it and it will be accurate and to the dimension that the designers want. So yeah, now we're just going to work on the overlap of the top basin. And that's sort of, you know, I like using the aligning tool, and the aligning tool mostly just shows you where your reference plane are aligned to, and those pink lines, after that you just press the buttons TR, and that is to trim the extents, and now you've got a perfect rectangle. And with that done, I like to put my offset for the lip, for the marble, at around 40 or 20. It really depends on the design and the budget, but that's what I love to do. It just looks good in renders as well, and yeah, it's a little bespoke. And then immediately we're going to go to constraints. So you know that I'm going to call it the lower part and the top part of the vanities at different heights. I think keeping it at 850 is a good height, because it is then universally accessible, and you know, it just fits the space and speaks to the rest of the elements. So with that, you can sort of gauge 850 would be the max, and then you need to work out what the middle piece would be. Definitely go into 3D to see how all of that works, but don't be afraid to change the size as you go along, seeing fit what you want for the design. So don't be too stuck with those numbers as well. Great, just a little bit of, you know, working it out, figuring it out. That's always totally okay. And then definitely, if you're going to do anything with heights, go into your front views, into your elevational views. Those are going to give you a good broad overview of what you need in terms of heights. And because we are trying to stick to the parameters on here, just edit the parameter, click on the dimension itself, and put in the height or the dimension that you want. For example, 1.2. If I needed to change to 1.5, I'll be able to do that as well. So usually in an instance like this would be putting reference planes as well for the offset of the lip. But because this is just for aesthetic reasons at this point, there will be another video showing you guys how to model this type of basin parametrically if you've got different instances. So that's when that would be really helpful. If you've got this basin in different rooms at different sizes, parametric interior elements are very, very helpful for maneuvering those odd spaces, but keeping the design aesthetic solid and grounded. Great, now we're just going to put the reference planes for the top basin, and that's the top piece, and we're just going to sort of gauge how far the offset is. Always remember to refer back to your reference image or refer back to your reference sketch that you would want your basin to look like. And you know, it is always a work in progress. Don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to go back and change a few things as well. Totally okay. And that is super helpful because we have what? Reference planes. You can always make sure when you're correct or incorrect. As you can see, the reference planes are highlighted in orange, and that means something is off. A number has moved. It was not supposed to, but that's what keeps you in the know in terms of what is changing in your model in this particular instance. So we are using mostly the create extrusion tool. I find it is very useful in this particular instance, as we are using very, I would say, rigid shapes, very geometric, square, rectangular shapes. So it's very easy to just use those tools. It's, I think, one of the first tools we use in Revit when you learn how to model. So don't be afraid to use those. Use the pick line tool, the green tool. Put your offsets if you need to, but definitely those are the tools to use for this particular model. Again, offsetting the lip as needed, and then trim your extents. No need to pull the lines back. We don't do that on this particular software. Great. Now we want our top basin to start at 650 and to end at 850 for now. This might change, however. Let's see what it looks like in 3D. Okay, so it looks like we've got something's going on. Let's adapt it a little bit more, just a little bit. I think we really want the top basin to set in to really be the grounding force of the entire vanity. So we're just gonna eyeball it just a little bit. Like, what would it look like if it extended a bit more? And yeah, let's take a look. So again, reference planes are very important. You can type RP for reference plane, or another one that I like to use is LI, and that's the line tool, and that's for casework. I like that because it is think of it as a 3D line. Okay, this will show up on all views. You just need to set it to a particular plane. So the LI line is actually very helpful when you need to draw in plan or you need to show that line in all views. So what we've done now is use the join tool, which is right at the top. The shortcut for that is JN, and you click the first object and the second object that you want to join, and it'll join the geometry. As easy as that. Right now you can see that the corners are really cutting into each other, and yeah, it's fantastic. You can play around a bit with the shaded views and the graphic display views to see what works for you. I personally prefer the white model view. It looks best for me, but play around with it to see what elements work best. So switch between wireframe and shaded views just to make sure that you get the best graphic display for the view that you're in and for the elements that you want to be drawn. Remember, the graphic display is not fixed in any way. You can always change this later down the line. You can even create templates for this later on. Please guys, if you're enjoying this channel, please take a moment to like and subscribe. I really hope you guys are loving the videos that are out there. We will soon be putting them up the Revit elements up on a platform for you to download and use in your future projects. And yeah, please let us know if you've got any suggestions, what you'd like to learn, and we will get that out there for everyone to take a look. Great, so we've made the top basin about 300 deep wide from the front, and the bottom is 550. However, the entire constraint is still 850, which I think is a reasonable amount of depth for the entire basin. So the solid black line you see there, that's the LI, that's line, that's a shortcut, is LI, and that's the three-dimensional line that I spoke about that will show up on all sides of your view, whether it's a floor plan, elevation, etc., as long as you've set the correct plane. As you can see, it's standing proud in front, and we'd actually want it to be set back a bit, but we're not going to mess with that right now as it's not super important. So what we're actually trying to do is get the little bit of a shadow gap to create a door illusion on the bottom vanity cabinet. As you can see in the image, that's what they have, that's what we're going to try and create as well. So for this process, I like to go to my reference level. The reason for this is I can easily see what I'm cutting through from the top. For instance, it's just a door. I like to leave a bit of a shadow gap. If it's a finger grip, probably 30 mils deep is enough for you to put your finger into that and grip it out. However, this might be a bit too deep if you are trying to show this only for graphical reasons. For example, in a 3D render, in a model, you need to gauge what it looks like, but however, 30 I would say is a good finger grip. So don't let it cut through all the way. For this, we've used a void extrusion tool, and you will see what that looks like in a second. And we spin it around, and great, we have our void cut through. If it does look a little bit too thick, I would say, so just play around with it. You can always go back, you can always edit. That is not an issue. And then you just offset by however much you want to cut out. And remember, trim, TR, that's all that it is. You trim it and you make sure that you get exactly what you want. And keep going back to your 3D views as well. Fantastic, we have it. We have what we want. Don't be too worried about the back, as that will probably sit flush with a wall. However, in some instances, if you do want to do like basins, if you want to model some basins, or you want to model some sanitary items, you probably do want them to be wall-hosted, wall-based families. However, as an interior architect, I find that a bit constraining in terms of, let's say you want the basin to be the centerpiece of the room. Now you need the wall there as well. So I'm thinking this is a lot easier to work with for now. If anyone knows a better way, please definitely comment down in the section below. Let me know, let us know, and we can explore all the options. So right now I'm on my front view, and for this reason is because we're creating the lip depth. Okay, I like to make it about 30 or just a little bit below, so it doesn't sit flush with the top of the counter. This just creates a little bit of luxury as well. So with that, you want to create reference planes so you know that your top piece of marble sits exactly where it needs to be to create the illusion that it needs to create. So you're gonna press AL, and that is align. That's the align tool, super helpful. You're gonna align the top of your extrusion to the top of your reference plane, and that's gonna make sure that those lines are forever hosted together. They're not gonna move without each other, and if anything does move, an orange alert is going to pop up on your screen. Please make sure to read this alert as well. It is very important. Do not leave them unattended. As you can see, we have drawn now the bottom of the sink. Keep looking at your reference image, keep trying to make it work. Remember, there's many options for you out there. If you're thinking of sketching something amazing, definitely feel free to sketch it, send it to us. Let's see how we can create this amazing piece for you in 3D for you to use on your BIM softwares. So the piece that we're going to make now, that would be the solid overhang on the top piece. So with that, I would say you'd want that to be symmetrical and you want it to be right in the middle, offset from the sides. So for that, just make sure you've got enough space for your, whether you want handles there, basin taps, or whether you just want the faucet. So make sure there's enough space for that, and then go into your 3D space. And with that, you're sort of going to make sure that there is a 30mm lip as well that matches the bottom. It's all about symmetry here. It is all about aligning your elements using reference planes. I think that is really the activity here, and it's a good takeaway if you can do that, because that's half your job done, to make sure that it's accurate and you can easily be maneuvered and changed for future. Great, we have a 30mm reference plane, so we're going to press AL on our keyboards, align the top, align to the bottom, and fantastic. We're then going to go to our 3D view, and voila, there we have it. However, there is something still missing. We need to enclose that and continue the rest of the basin. Remember to use your green pick tool. This tool is fantastic, so that you don't have to repeat yourself drawing on the same line that already exists. Just pick the line and continue, and Bob is definitely your uncle. Great. So we pull that up, make sure it's flush with the top marble piece, and now we're almost done. Just one final piece, I would say. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, what you thought of this. Do you guys think you wanted something a little more basic, something a little less bespoke? Let us know and we can explore the options. So normally with these type of basins, they would definitely have a unique drainage system. So feel free to add that in for yourself. I'm just going to create a little bit of a gap to show that we have thought of that. If there is some sort of drainage, it would go there at the back, and that edge piece is a little bit slanted most of the time, so that the drainage can flow down into the bottle trap. Great. So yeah, you don't have to worry too much about that, as no one's going to see it from the top. However, feel free to add that in if this is going to be documented a bit further. Great. Keep looking at your reference images. Now we're going to try add some tabs or some forces. Let's see how that goes. Now remember, we will add more things as we go along. Feel free to just drop it in. So some elements are very much wall-based or very much surface-based, but this tab that I got from Armani is not wall-based. So I love this tab actually because you can just place it on any furniture, any casework, and it just works. Once dropping it in, just go into your 3D view, make sure that it is there, and remember, change your graphics display. Fantastic, the tab is there, and you're just gonna pull it up. Now, this is not the most conventional way to do it, but if it's just for looks and just for ideas, it's the fastest way for you to explore what it would look like. And then turn back your graphic display something more solid so you can see what that looks like. Align it on the side, make sure that you put it in the middle or whatever, whatever is your design intent. For now, we're just going to shift it to the middle. You sort of eyeball it, but you can also again type in RP, reference plane, and find the midpoint of that top basin and type in MM or MD, whatever setting you have, and it's going to take you to the midpoint and just meet both midpoints, to the reference line and to the faucet. Fantastic. Great. The little triangle means you're right in the middle, and that should be good to go. And then you just carry object and you type in MV, and that means move. Then you wait until there's a green triangle and you carry it over, and you're done. Fantastic. It is great. It's looking fabulous, you guys. We're gonna continue going through the motions, looking for whatever else there is to look for in this bathroom, and at the end we're gonna complete an entire luxury residential build in Revit. It is so exciting. I'm excited to do it with you guys. Cannot wait to see what everyone comes up with, and let me know. Please find below an attachment of this file. Let me know if you need any help getting to it. Thank you guys. It's been fab.